Good evening. Welcome to the Dead Zone. This is a place where the strange and unusual occurrences happen, a place where people exhibit the most outlandish and reckless behavior, a place that seems to be out of a scary sci-fi movie. It may even seem that you crossed into another dimension of time and space. No, folks, the dead zone is real, and the people that reside there are real, but mentally dead. Some are this way due to being naive. Others are this way because of a daily consumption of false and misleading information. Sadly to report, many are this way because of willful ignorance. We will attempt to resurrect these individuals from the dead zone. We will try to give them a regular dose of reality and a healthy diet of true and factual information. Soon, the brain-dead individual should reverse course and recover. The individual should be left with a thriving and thinking brain and escape the dead zone. Welcome back to another episode of the Dead Zone. This will be a continuation of Church or Cult Part 2. We will continue to look at this religious organization, the Roman Catholic Church. It has been into existence for over 1,000 years, and another religious organization came along around the 6th century AD. There seems to be a connection there, as I will show you some pictures. The women dressed in similar garb, the rosary beads. What is the meaning of this? We will dig into these issues. Let me tell you, some people are going to be seriously disturbed that belong to both of these organizations. One is a pagan religion. The other is also a pagan religion. And I will prove that one is the brainchild of the other. So let's get into it. Now that I am in a more secure location, let's dig into this information. Well, it starts with Alberto Rivera, an ex-Jesuit priest. He gives his testimony to Chick publication. Now within those testimony, he reveals how Islam came into an existence. His bishop told him this private information, and he lost his life for giving out this private information. This information goes like this. Cardinal Bia was stationed in Africa around the 5th century. The Roman Catholic Church came up with a scheming plan. They were going to use the Arab people to begin these crusades. And within those crusades, they were going to also conquer Jerusalem. But what they were hoping was that the Jews and the Muslims would war against each other until they will both be destroyed, and they will walk in and claim Jerusalem as its own. But the Muslim people began to feel themselves after they were conquering people after people after people, and when it came time to turn over Jerusalem to the Catholic Church, they refused. And you can guess the Pope was steaming mad. So now today, what do you see over in Jerusalem? The Temple Mount and the Wailing Wall. They both share that historical place because their plans did not come to fruition. But let's get back to this story of how Islam came into an existence. They began to spread this rumor that a prophet was going to be raised among the Islamic people, the Muslims. And as Muhammad came along, they hooked him up with one of their agents, Khadijah, which was a Catholic nun. They began to tell Muhammad all these stories about the Bible. That's why you read the Quran. When you read the Quran, it's like the Bible but the stories are twisted. But which one came first, the Bible or the Quran? Let's get back to the story. So, as Muhammad went on listening to these stories, he believed the stories that they were telling him, that he was going to be a prophet. And eventually he began to have these experiences with an angel in a cave. Now, prophets never got information from his messengers in a cave. Who worship in caves? But that's another topic for another day. Well, as the story goes on, Muhammad began to take on this role as prophet. He began to have these so-called experiences with angels and getting all this information, and he began to dictate his words because he could not read or write. He was illiterate. So a friend was writing down all his words, which is now the Quran today. But as I said, when you read the Quran, it's like the Bible all mixed up. The stories are jumbled. And you have to realize one religious organization was in existence over 1,000 years. One came along around the 6th century AD. So what does that tell you? Who was the brainchild of whom? Is there some reality to what I'm saying? Is there some truth to what I'm saying? These things will probably disturb some people that belong to the Islamic religion, because many people was brought up in this religion from birth. Many people believe this religion wholeheartedly, just like I believe the religion I was following wholeheartedly, until I began to read and study the Bible and learn it for myself and not listen to what people were telling me what it was saying. So as time goes on, these people begin to conquer nation after nation after nation. And the one goal that the Roman Catholic Church wanted them to do was to conquer Jerusalem. And when they went into Jerusalem and to secure it, they did not turn it over to the Catholic Church, which made the Pope very angry. Yeah, the Muslim people began to feel themselves, and they began to believe. Muhammad actually believed the things that they were telling him about himself being this great prophet. And then guess what? He had the experiences to validate what they were saying. But was those experiences truly from God? Because we don't see God operating in that manner nowhere in the Bible, visiting his people in caves, his prophets. No. But let's get back to the story. So they did not turn over Jerusalem to the Pope. And today, what do we see? We see the Temple Mount and the Wailing Wall, both on that historical site, because of what took place in the past is still in existence today. And now these people are still warring against one another. And there's another thing about these so-called Jews today. I say so-called Jews because there's a man named Benjamin Friedman. He put out a book called Facts Are Facts. Now within this book, now he himself is also a so-called Jew. Now the history of these people are not the history, the descendants of Abraham. No, these people came along in the 7th century from a pagan nation, King Bulan. King Bulan was masterful at conquering all these nations during his time. That's why you see around the Black Sea all these so-called Jewish people from Poland, Russia, Uzbekistan, all these areas. This is where this man had been. And when he was looking to convert his people to a religion, he looked at the Muslims, and he looked at the Christians, and he looked at the Jews. And what he discovered, the Muslims and the Christians were warring against each other, but the Jews seemed to be to themselves. So he decided to convert his people to Judaism. And out of that conversion came the so-called Jews today. Now in 1948, when Jerusalem was turned over to these so-called Jews, as Benjamin Friedman said, they began to persecute the Jews that are black like me, the Sephardic Jews that can actually trace their origin back to Abraham. But these new so-called Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, who at the time could not speak Hebrew, and this masquerade is still going on today, the Jewish people, but people do not know their origin. And out of those people, guess what famous family came? What flag is flown over Jerusalem today? It has a star on it. They call it the Star of David. Now there's no such thing as the Star of David. That is the red shield. What does red shield mean? Rothschild. Yes, the Rothschild family. So to bring some validation to this story, to give it some biblical truth, when they began to persecute these Jews, because these Jewish people, so-called Jewish people, were doing well in the countries that they were in. They had Hitler to begin to persecute these people. And then they began to think, we need a place of our own. We need a place of our own. And so a deal was made. The Rothschilds secured Jerusalem. And then these so-called Jews began to go back to Jerusalem. Now people who don't know this, they think, oh, Bible prophecy is being fulfilled. You see how the Jews are starting to go back to Jerusalem? This is biblical. No, this was a scheme, all done behind the scenes. Deals were made. The things we see today is of questionable origins. But we will dig into that another day. I am not going to take up too much time because I know people's attention span is short. And I want you to research the things that I am even telling you, because so many lies are being told today. But Dr. Just Meat keeps it 100. So go and check the facts that I'm telling you and see if what I'm saying is true. I want to thank you for tuning in to this week's episode, Church or Cult Part 2. Thank you for tuning in to the Dead Zone. Come back each week as we explore a different case and try to bring back lost individuals from the Dead Zone.